Oh, we're live, sorry. We were reading the moderation rules. Are we actually able to turn the camera around when we're on here? So there's beautiful Zendaya, our little uns. We've just made elderflower champagne. So yeah, lots of stuff isn't growing very well. Out of all the carrots, 5 grew. Out of all the leeks, 1, 2 are growing. These we did inside. They're both courgettes sprouted. We've got one planted out. The beans are doing okay. We managed to take down the arch, unwind. Oh, they're the ones that all haven't grown. And put up the, you can't really see it, can you? Unwind the wisteria, paint the other arch new and put it up so this one's not broken. So that was a really hard job. So the house is all, we've still got the mess to tidy up here. We've got to wrap wire around it and paint the wire. Last time it wasn't in the ground, so this one's in the ground a bit. And we've actually put the poles on to tighten it, and then we're going to put wire around and wrap it, but we've got to do that and paint it. So yeah, it still needs tidying up. Everything's a bit thingy. The house needs tidying too. Most of the stuff here that's grown, like this red lettuce and all of these, are seeds that were in this that we shredded. So they're all accidental. That's a planned dill. Those dills accidental. There's lots of dill in here growing that's accidental. So the stuff that's doing well is the stuff from last year, or the stuff that's accidental, apart from the beans and the peas. So for us to look at that in a metaphysical way, it's the unplanned stuff that's working. So we're going by that. But otherwise, we've got lots of strawberries for the strawberry full moon, which is early tomorrow morning. This one's going to be a beauty. We're looking forward to them. But we're going to just talk you through our little uns, or us, depending, are going to talk you. Titana. Yeah, you call this one strawberries and cream, don't you? We love that one. And the honey. Oh, look, we did it on Momo Butaina. Oh, we get so excited when we see the new groove. One of our sweet peas finally growing. How exciting is that? That's a trailing sweet pea. Oh, that was unexpected. That brings us lots of joy. Hey, Worm. We're teaching Worm to sit down before he eats Zen's leftovers, and he's very smart. He's picking it up quickly. Our sweet pea here haven't grown, but maybe they'll come if we're patient enough. Maybe they'll come late. But we bought some from the shop the other day so they can trail around the structure, trail up the structure. So this took us ages to do. We've been pretty sore after it. And the crosses, we bought big, long 3 metre ones. And so, yeah, it's a lot stronger than last year. Last year it didn't work at all, really. And we never got round to doing it. Can you do one more? There we go. And the year before it worked, last year it didn't. Everything was all over the place last year, so this year's kind of a new year. So we're going to take you into the house, and not sure who will talk you through the elderflower champagne that we just made. And then we're going to make elderflower cordial. We didn't want to get up this morning, we were really sore and tired. But then it's like, let's walk backwards and harvest some elderflowers. Yeah, that makes me really excited, doesn't it? So yeah, the house is a bit of a mess because we've been in a lot of physical pain, and these jobs we find really hard, but they're really good to challenge us. And then on Tuesday we had a text, it was at 13:31, those numbers, from a brother who we haven't been in contact with for 3 years, saying that our gran in Australia had died. So that's been a tower moment to catalyse and stir up the second chakra, and emotions, and contact our brother again. So there's all kinds of things been going on with that. So the house hasn't really been number one priority, but our mental health, our physical health, and doing things that brings us joy, like the elderflower champagne, because it smells great. So we'll take you inside now. You'll get to see the mess, and it's just sharing the truth of living with mental and physical disabilities, and managing hiccups in life as well, and just this is how it is, and it's real. So here we go. Wee cheeky, you're not going in there. We got a yellow finger because we started it and then it stopped. But gargle salt water, then tino momo, tai titama. then sesame oil with cloves in, and then turmeric powder with water on your teeth. So that's what we're doing. Our teeth started getting really painful again. We think one of our teeth might be growing back. Not growing back. I don't think it's one of the ones growing back, guys. No, isn't it a wisdom tooth coming through that's not coming through? We had 2 wisdom teeth out, but I don't know if they're the bottom or the top. They're the ones that you didn't need to go into hospital for. Oh, it smells amazing in here with the elderflowers. We're going to turn you around and we're going to face shame. See the mess. Look, so this is the elderflowers that are left. So we were up just past about 5:30 this morning because we do our sun gazing, our walking backwards. Hey, Tito Momo, Tai, Tito Pomo, Tito Pomo, ay. Don't lay down and look cute. It's not going to work. You don't live here. You have to go outside. You're not getting familiar with the house. This is Zen safe space. Go on, out you go. Worm, Tito Momo, Tai. Oh, no, don't look cute and make it hard. Hey, what are you like? You're smart, aren't you? Purring away. You've had your treat this morning. I thought we'd close the door. Ah, we love the kittens. So, yeah, sun gazing, walking backwards. We went down the steps, so we've got this time rather than up the steps. It's only 4 steps and it's only a small journey. So this is literally not far from where we live because we don't leave the house really and we don't go very far. Every so often we challenge ourselves to walk to the shop, which is the furthest, but that's we're in this little bungalow estate retirement area. They just smell amazing, and where these are, a lot of them, the ones you can reach, are in shade, so they've come on. It's a bit late, but we made it for the first time last year, and it's the end of June. We just discovered we're back sleeping on the floor in here at the moment, because you see the moon rising over there, so we get a moon bath in the morning. These are the dill seeds. We're figuring out how to get them out of this mess easy because they put them in the shredder. They smell amazing too, but I think it's going to be a bit of a mission and we're not going to manage it and we won't shred them again. The books we've been reading at the moment have been really good. That's about a gran that's gone to Australia. It's our gran in Australia that's just died. It's about a dad and 2 kids. So reading this, we've just finished Half a World Away, which I think is about a sister looking for her long lost brother that got taken into care. And so I think that prepared us. I think and it's all about grief as well. So we'd been having loads of grief and trauma episodes before we heard about a gran. So the subconscious and the way the energies work was preparing us and knew it all about us. We're on this. We just got up to date. Last week we did all 3 at once, 3 weeks at once last week. Haven't managed this week, but we'll probably do this whole week in one day, which is yellow. We're on orange and yellow at the moment. We have actually done some of that. We sat down once and played that on the scales. We do the Indian scale of Sa, Ra, Ga, Ga, Ma, Pa, Pa, Da, Ni, Sa. So yeah, here it is, a bit of a mess in here. We've made more of our green powder with all those strawberry leaves. We haven't done the hyssop and we haven't ground all this up yet. We're still in the process of making it. And this is the chamomile that we harvested from our lawn last year. We'll probably have to dehydrate that again because after we dehydrate it and then leave it sitting for a day, it tends to get moisture from the atmosphere. This is our wholemeal. This is what we've kind of been living at the moment, our wholemeal sourdough bread, because we haven't blended up any of the rice or oats. We haven't done them for a while, but there's all like a hemp and a hormone regulators and our gut stuff. We kind of go through this each time. This is the honey we're using, polyfloral. When we first realised that honey was more healthy than sugar, or not first realised, we then discovered that that's fed with, bees are fed with sugar water, so you have to actually buy all the proper stuff, and this is like I think it's about £15 for that tub, whereas a normal pot of honey, which is small, is quite expensive, and it's not like, to get pure and organic and raw, it's like just expensive. So that comes from Europe, from eBay. We need to figure out how to sterilize these because the dishwashers are not working, and we'd have a habit of breaking the glasses before not putting the boiling water in boiling, but it's still too hot and breaks the glasses, and we don't want that to happen. So I don't know, we've even got to wait for some of us to change. We're going to make the 5 bottles of the elderflower and then 2 bottles of the elderflower cordial, which I think we're going to put ginger in as well. They've been sitting there for a while because we're getting the sticky stuff off with oil and bicarb, but they need to be washed. So yeah, but this is going to be tidy soon, and it is what it is. And so I think we wanted it to be tidy before we did this, and then we want it to be tidy before we do whatever. So we're hoping to get it tidy today, not in here, but in the lounge, to do a live box opening of our La Fruma deck. We done one more. Yeah, we're not sure if we want to stir it because we don't want to spill it. We filled it up pretty much. But there's the flowers. Last time we didn't put in the lemon skins, and there was a bit of a debate that we didn't want the lemon skins put in because that can make it go a bit bitter. But it's just like water, the flowers. We've got some lime in there as well, 2 limes, and then that honey we showed you. But the skins, I didn't realise how healthy this was for you actually. So we can't do the live like this and look it up again, but the benefits of elderflower champagne is like anti-inflammatory, antiviral, I don't know, but if you look it up, it's really good for you. But basically for us, it's fermenting. If it's fermenting, it's got bacteria, and we just function on the bacteria, the probiotics and the prebiotics. But the lemon skin for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, EDS, lemon, and again, this is just our frequencies, and it's like mallets or word association, but like frequency association. So we will, because it's our trunk that needs sorting out in our body, with the strawberry leaves, we put the trunk of the strawberry leaf in, or the stem, because it's kind of like a trunk. This is our little one's thinking. But we'll eat the whole of the food, and if it involves a trunk or a stem, we'll put that in because it relates to our trunk. So we go on a very kind of literal thing like that on the frequency healing. And lemon essential oil is really good for contracting the muscles. So we've got infused oil with citrus and lemon from a couple of years ago, which we put in our homemade sun cream, and have in the bath or after the bath sometimes put on our skin, because the bath's great for the hydrotherapy because it acts as a container for the body. So an EDS body struggles with the boundaries, and we'd say hypersensitive people empaths struggle with boundaries as well. And if one's struggling with boundaries in what we would guess is the more conventional understanding of boundaries, as in healthy boundaries in relationships, in a mental conceptualization, if we've got those wordings right, it reflects that whole patternology reflects. So if you bring that down to a frequency, in the frequency of that mental conceptualization is the frequency of boundaries, and it's particularly specific in the conventional understanding. It's boundaries in a mental mind of like healthy relationships and boundaries maybe, but it could be in a gardening perspective of the boundary between the fence of your garden and the next door neighbour's garden, or the boundary of the fence between a public pathway and your place, or like the beds, our high raised garden beds, you've got the boundary around there. I mean, when that was first built, we would have gone for 2.4 in whole pieces because it would have been more strong structurally, but it was a 60-year-old lady that was building it, so we went for the smaller pieces. And then one of us didn't want the metal brackets put on to secure it because it looked ugly. That was the conscious mind thinking of whoever we were at the time that didn't want it. But these things that happen for a reason, because we have spent a lot of time observing when we haven't been able to do much physically, and in our breath and in these altered states of consciousness, in the higher vibrational frequencies. And as the temperature of the soil and the water content of the soil has lessened and increased, God, the words are hard, the structure started expanding, and eventually it would have kind of come apart. So then we had to put on those metal brackets, but the whole process was for us to witness the process of it expanding and breaking, because you've got that similar frequency pattern in energetic, in the language of energy, the language of source energy, the language of frequency, because to understand that frequency depends which sensory system it goes through. And our alternate personalities work really well in the sensory systems. It's just the words and the expressing through the conscious mind that's a bit more challenging. But that's why we're witnessing all these processes in nature that then reflect in our body, because the ligaments in the body. Hold on. So going back to the structure of that thing there, the fact that we've managed to get those two structures up and they're strong, even though it took us like a long time, we managed it and succeeded. So therefore, our immediate external reality has taught us about our internal reality. So for us, that's a sign that our internal reality, the structure of our internal reality, is becoming more stable. So for the internal reality structure, the main structure of the body is the musculoskeletal body, but specifically the skeletal body, because the body gets its strength from the skeleton and the posture of the skeleton in the body. Spotty bones! Capricorn! Yeah, the Capricorn rules the bones, the knees, and the skin, which is the very deep with the bones, and the skin, which is the very outside. And so if you've got the torus, the toroidal flow of energy, that donut-shaped torus, you've got that bit in the middle and the bit around the outside. But the way the body works, you've got like the central channel of the big main torus for the trunk of the body, filters energy in and out, where you don't need the peripheral, and that's your central nervous system, the emotional house, where you don't need your peripheral nervous system, your limbs of action. But then you have two more toruses where that central vortex channel goes down from your collarbones to your sit bones, and that then incorporates your limbs of actions. How does it do that, Tito Momo? Because the shoulder collarbone goes down to the sit bone, and the sit bone is where that big artery goes up from your legs up to the lumbar, because your legs actually start at lumbar 1, and and so for us, our legs weren't working to their optimum level on the outer muscles, because the very outer muscle of the thigh, which is actually the bit that goes down the middle of the thigh, I think, wasn't able to get up to lumbar 5 because of our protruding discs in our lower back, L4, L5, L5, S1, so the bottom of the lumbar and the top of the sacrum. And the way the fascia was with all our injuries on the left side with the EDS and the faulty healing meant there was such contraction and tightness that you couldn't get the optimum balance between extension and contraction for the biomechanics of the body. And so, but Tito Momo, that's all shifting now, isn't it? And as we're doing that, there's major stuff going on with our head scar. And because we're so present with our internal realities and our external realities aligned, everything that we talk about is happening in the moment. So the ligaments are the guide ropes to the bones that hold the bones in place to get the postural alignment in the body. And then the muscles being against the bone give the strength. Hence why with bodybuilding, you're pulling the muscle away from the bone, creating a gap between the bone and the muscle, and creating extra tension on the tendons, the origin of the tendon and the insertion of the tendon. the origin being the starting point where the tendon comes out, and the insertion being then when the tendon gets inserted in. And how the body functions, whether it's your elbow bending like that, that would be a hinge joint. Your shoulder and your hips are socket joints. Your hips are a deep socket joint. Your shoulder is a shallow socket joint. But that's a ball, so you'll get the full range of internal rotation, external rotation. So all this, you break it down, you take away the words and you take away the narrative, and you break it down to paternology or frequency. But frequency is paternology, but whether that paternology of the frequency, it's a complex, it's a combination of frequencies, I suppose, paternology, whether it's the biomechanics, the movement in the body, the action, that can be seen visually if you're looking at someone else, or it could be seen internally, but for us, we feel it and we sense it. So for us, feelings is more physical sensations. God, we're going off on one, aren't we? So Tito Momo. That's why we went off on one, because of the lemons. Because the lemons contract the muscles, but they also do the ligaments. The ligaments carry more of the electromagnetic neural impulse energy through the body. And so anywhere you've got a build-up of ligaments, so like your abdomen, your sacrum, anywhere, if you look at a map of the muscles, it's not a map of the muscles, but a poster of the muscles, whatever that's called, and you have the muscles which are red, the tendons are more white, and then you've got ligaments. So anywhere you've got big parts of ligaments, white stuff, the denser of the fascia, you actually, where your chakras are, you'll have more dense fascia things going on for the main chakras. But at every joint you have a chakra. A chakra is a spinning vortex of energy. So like as a river is winding down, as you go around a corner of the river, that creates a vortex movement in the water, and then as you've got rock, as it goes down into deeper or up the depth of the water. Okay, we're going to stop now. We're going into all kinds of multi-layered depth and height and everything. So yeah, lemons is really good. The bath's good because it contains the body, so you're getting the expansion of the body in the bath with the hot water, but you're getting the expansion with the bath acting as a boundary for the body, so that you don't hyperextend too much, because with EDS you can relax, and in the process of relaxing, if you're not supported, you basically injure yourself. So yeah, elderflower champagne is going to be amazing for the bacteria, amazing for the lemons. We're going to get the cordial as well. We'll probably put some ginger in the cordial. Tito pomo mandaida. Grief. We talked about grief of the death of our gran. 94, she had a good life. It was complicated emotions arising from that, complicated relationship as well. Most of our family's kind of estranged, but a healthy catalyst, even though it's challenging to re-establish communication after a few years with our brother. The liver holds the emotions, if we're not mistaken, of anger and forgiveness. And shh, the shushing sound is the sound to calm, in Chinese medicine, to calm the liver. So it's forgiveness and anger of the emotions of the liver. And lemons are the only food, if I'm not mistaken, that's got the same molecular structure as the liver. And the liver is hugely important for detoxifying the body. And so toxins in the body, dissonant frequencies, because when we resonate with something, we can resonate with something in a dissonant way. And when we get triggered and resonate with something in a dissonant way, that's actually a bigger teacher, because it's showing us where we're in denial. And so detoxifying the body means detoxifying the body in all the bodies, all the levels, the physical body, the root chakra, the red, the chemical body, which we're still not very good with our wording on this, but you've got the orange and the yellow, and we think it's the chemical body is the orange, where you have a chemical reaction between the chemical reactions in your food when your fuel takes place, the food. So the cleaner the food, the cleaner the fuel, not being processed, because it's not about being a meat eater and not being a meat eater. When we've bought vegetarian or vegan burgers, the washing up, how we figure it out is the washing up of the food. If the tray, the pan that we've used to cook the food in, after a couple of days soaking, if it doesn't come off easy, it's got unhealthy toxins or chemicals in it that the food manufacturers use, which if it's not coming off with water and some washing up liquid, eco washing up liquid, environmentally friendly, then that's not good for your body, and that's going to be building up just like it is in the pan in your body after it's had the chemical reaction, the change of molecular state from being heated up and cooked. So it's about being not processed. It's about being whole foods. And the thing about making stuff ourselves, even though it's really hard because of energy levels, and I mean, we would just do it working out all our elderflower stuff from a pint, and then a couple of hours later realized that it's not a pint. One, because of our sensory systems not being connected, it said print. So the little bit that says you want to print out the recipe, one of us had seen that and thought that that was the recipe was for a pint of liquid of this state. So that's what it's like with us when we do something. Whatever we're doing, the sensory systems aren't quite connecting, but they're connecting a lot sooner now. It's only kind of like, well, that was a few hours between sitting down, breathing, taking the heads off the flowers, then working this out, and then realizing a couple hours later, oh, it says print, not pint. So, oh, what were we saying then? So yeah, so basically it's about eating the whole foods, eating clean. It's not about eating meat or not eating meat. It's just about tapping into our body, tapping into our intuition, learning. If we're able to tap into our inner child and understand our inner child, it's about understanding their language, understanding that they may say things, they may get the words wrong, but if we can feel it from the heart, whether it's children external of yours, your children or not your children, or your inner children, our inner children express outwards because of the fragmentation and the disconnection between our sensory systems of the physical body, the chemical body. That was it, orange. So the orange is the chemical body where the chemical reactions take place, but those chemical reactions that take place because of the oxygen that we take into our breath, take in through our breath. So breath, the great spirit, God, whatever language works best for you, it's the spirit that resides in everything. So Shintoism is the spirit that resides in everything, whether it's a rock which doesn't seem like it's alive because it doesn't have what we call a bioorganic chemical reaction with a gas state, anything that nature produces, but man can come along and then change the state of that. So the breath, the solar plexus, is the yellow chakra, and then you've got the heart, which changes the emotional state. So it's working through all these bodies, and what we're working with now is the throat chakra, communicating through words. But a lot of stuff that we did to start with these channels, because it was all we were capable of, was humming, buzzing, and that's what we still do to get ourselves through our trauma states. And because we go into the paralysis, which we're learning now, because we go into the freeze and the paralysis state of the fight, flight, freeze because of our trauma, that has created us to be very capable of being patient, and to have a real strong ability at observation. While the alternate personalities that have the mind but haven't got access to the body, and then there's like, I don't know, different ones in between. So yeah, that's where it all came, with the lemons and the elderflower champagne and the healing. Oh look, you've got live messages down below coming in here. Daniel Brown, hi Daniel Brown. Hi Daniel Brown. Do we know you? See you, good. New Zealand, awesome. Kia ora. Oh, we miss New Zealand big time. Joe, hi, how are you today? Well, we're not Joe. Dog's video, I'm good, please. Okay, maybe we don't know you, just from New Zealand. But hi, New Zealand. Hi, Daniel Brown. Dog's great because dog's God backwards, and a lot of us do backwards. So we're going to go now because we want to finish making the other one off. We're just attempting to get ourselves back into doing lives, I suppose, because we keep doing videos, but we don't seem to be able to edit them or upload them yet. So we're getting back into being familiar with going live. Oh, and that's another, so we were talking about the muscles, and so this Sagittarius full moon that in the UK is happening tomorrow at 4:41 a.m., Sagittarius is the ruler of the thighs, the hips, the sacrum, and the liver. And so all of that combines into the energies of the full moon that's happening. And when we first started doing our moon transit readings in Virgo season, after the cycle in 2020, it was Sagittarius we started on. It's Sagittarius moon transit with the Virgo sun. So this one's great because they're both mutable signs, but this one's a Sagittarius full moon with a Gemini sun. And they're on the same linear 180-degree axes. So yeah, the energies that are coming in are really great. So yeah, hopefully this will give some, I don't know, the information and the energy that we put out there that's most important is actually through the electromagnetic field of our heart, so that your electromagnetic field can take in the information that it needs from ours as and when, because time's a non-linear concept in the quantum realms, and you can have the experiences that you need for the most fun, joyous journey on this kind of challenging roller coaster of getting to know ourselves to the deepest depths. Because the deeper we get to know ourselves, in every aspect, from all of our sensory system perspectives, in all of our bodies, all the different wavelengths, etc., and densities, frequencies, that's how we have a bigger impact on the collective energies. So we feel like we're insignificant, we feel like we can't do anything to change the world, and it's all happening out there, but what's out there is the collective agreement reality. So we call it the objective collective agreement reality. So it's people, we each have our individual subjective reality, and when we're able to express in a way that communicates to others, whether that's music, art, dance, movement, words, books, when we're able to express our subjective experience outwards, and enough people have the subjective agreements that overlap, subjective experiences that overlap, and agreements created, that kind of then becomes fact. But that's from what we call the 3D linear academic societal logical way of thinking, whereas the multiverse is a multiverse. It's the multiverse is the wave, the universe is the particle. We're all of it. We're the masculine, we're the part, but we're the whole. But we are made up of bacteria that creates bacterial communities, that create the cells, that create cellular communities. And the bacteria of our body is like, our body is Earth, and the bacteria is the human. Humans are the bacteria of Earth. It's fractal geometry, the fractals within fractals. So we can't change other people. The only person we can change is ourselves. But we can change other people. Generally, a lot of people, the majority, are reactive human beings, and the idea is to become a responsive human being. And we want an earth where that we would say the majority of people would want a place which is peaceful and non-violent. And if people are reactive and they aren't able to manage their emotions, they aren't able to manage their own chemical reactions in the body, in the orange, the second chakra, that are taking place, the moon, through their breath, spirit, God, then there's reaction that happens, which happens through that happens when the tension in the fascia between the contraction and the extension, the stress and the relaxation, or like, you've got a tent, and the old-fashioned tents that are fabric, the guide ropes, that needs to be a certain tension to make the tent a certain tension, the guide rope being the linear, the meridian, the tent being the fascia train. All the guide ropes together would make up a fascia train from a linear perspective, and the whole tent would be a surface area fascia train. And so to get all that the optimum balance between tension and slack, to stop the water coming in through the fabric tent. So if we want, we can't change other people, but we can change that fundamental underlying energy that other people are reacting to. And we do that by going deep into our central nervous system, which takes us into the collective unconscious, because the collective unconscious is us. We're not separate from the collective. There are collectives that are stronger if you're in the collective of being a football lover, or if you're in the collective of being a gardener, or if you're in the collective of being a property owner, or if you're in the collective of being into tarot, or if you're in the collective of self-development, or if you're in the collective of being in a governmental job, or if you're in the collective of a governmental job that's in it to change it, or if you're in it because you're asleep. There's lots of different collectives, but basically we're a human nation collective on Earth. We'd love to live. We as humans design and innovate and create stuff that goes from the paternology of nature and how nature works. So nature works in a symbiotic relationship with a synergy that is harmonious and beneficial to all. And so the more of us that are able to delve deepwards into our own unconscious, taps into the collective unconscious, changes the energetics of the collective unconscious, and that's how you can change other people. It's much harder journey, but that's why we call it the fun shadow dance of life, because wording is hugely important. And as long as we use wording like fighting and killing or dissonant wording or negative connotation wording, because of our autism, it really impacts. With over this 7 years since the seizures, we've learned a lot of what impacts us, what triggers us, and negative connotation wording triggers us. So if we want to create a peaceful, harmonious playground on Earth, which is the external reality of the objective collective agreement of everyone's a projection of everyone's internal realities. It's a projection of so the external reality, the external global nation reality, is a projection of the collective of everyone's individual realities. So if we want a peaceful, harmonious global nation, we have to project our own peaceful, harmonious global projection. So therefore we have to have a synergetic, symbiotic relationship with all our bacteria in our body, because that's, for us, frequency healing from the inside out. So we're going to leave it on that note there. We're getting better at sharing, releasing the shame, being authentic, saying how it is, and being strong in our opinion and our ways, which actually isn't a regurgitation of other people. It's from our own experiences. But watching other people, listening to other people, brings attention to us of where we kind of get a bit triggered and say, oh, well, we disagree with that. And it's like, well, okay, how would we word that? How would we experience that? And then this is our practice ground to start wording it and saying it and sharing. But we're not just sharing or regurgitating from memory of what other people say, because we can't, our memory doesn't function like that. Between us all here, we don't function like that. So that's just not possible for us. We've never functioned like that, actually. Well, that's because this is what we've had forever. We just haven't had the labels of what we've had until the last 7 years, but we have had it our whole life. So yeah, we're going to end it on that note, whatever that note is, because we just lost it and switched. So yeah, have a lovely day, and hopefully you'll start seeing more of us as we all play, learn and grow together in the crazy dance of life. We've forgotten how to turn it off. 39, that's okay. Do some more. Bye. Oh no, there was more.